Okay, lovelies, this is Jess, my gorgeous daughter-in-law. This is the lady that does the tattoos that I've been telling you about. Look at that.
She's actually grabbing my arm.
Yes, moving her arm around. So Jess is going to show you how she does her makeup. Now, clearly, Jess is not a 52-year-old lady. Jess is in her 20s and does a wicked eyeliner. So, but we're going to do from start to finish. This is what Jess does with her makeup every day. Ooh. I don't know how she does it, but there we go. So she's going to start off with whatever that is, Fix and Perfect.
It is primer.
It's a primer.
I use this because I've got quite oily skin, so if anybody else has oily skin, I tend to recommend this first before you put any of your makeup on, just because it stops it from sliding off. So that's actually way too much. I'll just put a massive blob on.
And Jess has never done this before either, videoed herself putting her makeup on, so she's doing me a really big favour doing this for you guys. And
so I haven't actually got a clue what I'm doing when it comes to putting makeup on. So,
well, clearly you do, because you put your primer on first, which is always good to put the primer on first.
Yeah, I also put it over the top. Obviously, I tend to avoid this side of my face because of my piercings. So nobody call me out on that.
These are recent ones, by the way, ladies. So. That's why.
They've actually settled down quite well.
Yeah, but I suspect if they'd been in place for like 6 years, you'd probably just go straight over them, wouldn't you?
You can, but you have to clean around them. So if anybody else has got any piercings, I just tend to clean them off afterwards with like a cotton bud or something like that.
And I know a lot of you do have. I don't clean around mine. That's awful, isn't it? My nose stud. It just all gets whacked on over the top, and then I wonder why it goes black.
Right. And then I tend to put concealer on after that. I tend to put concealer on first just because if you put foundation then concealer on, then it tends to make your skin go a little bit sort of splodgy and funny. So I always go concealer first. So I'm just going to put that on. I'm going to look into this mirror though, so you'll probably see just this side of my face for a while. So I'll just put a tiny little bit on.
And you see, Jess uses her fingertip for everything. She doesn't, or so far, she's not used a brush or a
I will be using a brush. That's more for the shape of the eyebrows than anything else.
Right.
But I just tend to use it for the bottom part, just to get it with the finger. And then that just kind of gives a decent blend. I will be using a beauty blender at some point as well.
She calls it a beauty blender. I call it one of those spongy things. Technical terminology.
I suppose the good thing is you can't really see like too much lumpage on the eyes.
Jess is one of these people who's utterly stunning and seems to think you've got a big blob on your nose there. Seems to think she's some kind of hideous warlord. Drives me insane. She's so gorgeous.
Don't do it. No. Right, I'm just looking for one of my brushes. I don't know whether I brought it down actually.
What does it do?
I use it for concealer as well. I use this one. So I tend to just flatten my brush out. Because I've used it so many times and not cleaned it, then it does just stick like that. It shouldn't do if you have clean brushes, but I'm disgusting.
What did I say, ladies? Why do we clean our brushes a lot?
So that we don't get loads infections. Of spots. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. But, so I just tend to, I'm going to have to use this, but that's just to kind of define the eyebrows a little bit. So that's what I use to get like a nice sharp clean edge. And then I just do the top as well. So you've got something to work off when you put your, if you need anything over the top of your eyebrows. I've got quite light eyebrows usually. They don't look too light today. But if you've got quite blonde eyebrows, this tends to help with just getting a nice natural shape. And then I tend to just go in the crease like that as well, to just kind of flatten the face a little bit.
Anti-contouring.
Yes. And then if you've got spots like me as well, you just want to cover up your spots with the concealer. I know there'll be lots of people look at the
She does normally put something in it.
I'm just so lazy when it comes to stuff like that. But obviously I've got to be careful where these are, but you just don't want to do the same thing, so just over the top. This can be quite cakey though, so it might not be for everybody doing it the way I do it.
It's very impressive when it's all done, I have to say. What's one of the first things I noticed about Jess when I first met her was just how impressive her brows and eyeliner and eyeshadow is. It's just phenomenal. I think so. I mean, I wouldn't do it on me. It would look dreadful on me.
I think my makeup's got a lot better since I started using the Kat Von D palette.
The what one? Who?
The Shade and Light palette. I'll show it once I've started with it. I tend to put like a little bit of concealer over the top of the lip, just for the same reason, just to sharpen it up. If you don't wear lipstick, then it's good to obviously avoid the lips, and then just have a nice sharp edge against it, just because if you put it all over the mouth and then you wipe it off, then you get quite a messy sort of look. So I just tend to just go with a little bit of concealer. I use like a concealer foundation, which is really good. Just depends on where you're from, whether you can get it. I got mine from, I think it was Boots or something like that. But you can pick it up in most places. Just double check what I've got. I'll probably get like a little bit, just because I've got lots of spots. Just put it over the top.
She hasn't got lots of spots, ladies. She thinks she's got lots of spots, but she hasn't got lots of spots. She's just neurotic. I was going to say she's Welsh, and that would explain it, but as I'm fairly Welsh as well, I just need to shush.
Right, and then so I use this for my foundation just because of my oily skin. If you've got oily skin like I have, I'd always recommend to use a primer, and then use whatever conditioner, any sort of concealer. You can get oily stuff, but it's hard to find. And then just like an oily foundation, it just stops it from melting off your face within about 20 minutes. So it helps.
And I have to say that the Unique primer is a stunning primer. It really mats everything up beautifully. Really, I love the Unique primer for if I've got brides with oily skin.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I really like that one.
And then I just tend to just get a beauty blender and just put it all over. I usually end up putting way too much on and then just spreading it down my neck when I've got too much.
Technically and professionally, that would be called blending.
Just smear it everywhere.
Yeah. Jess's terminology, just smoosh it around as far as it'll go. Spread. It
actually takes me ages to get ready in the morning.
I don't know how you... Why? Why would you not just spend more time in bed? Each to their own.
See where I've got the older piercings there, I just tend to just go over the top and then clean them off after. But at the moment, just avoiding this part of my face. But nobody else should really have to do it unless you've got
stuck in your foundation now.
You are my mum.
That's such a good sound.
I'm just so dotty. And then you just want to make sure that it's really nice and sort of well blended together, so you haven't got any patches or anything like that. Beauty Blender's really good for that anyway, but sometimes I like to go over it with a brush quite lightly. Just depends on how you're feeling and if you feel like you've got a decent blend with it. And then just kind of drag it down the neck. Depends on how well the foundation matches to your skin. You might feel that it's a little bit too light or a bit too dark, so it's always good to drag it down the neck as well, just so you get like a really nice even tone all over. Actually sounded like I knew what I was on about that.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Very impressive.
I don't have any clue. I think that'll do for that.
Now, see, if this were me doing it, I'd have to make a few corrections to that.
So it's not too bad. I probably just...
I just want to go up to the ear more here.
Yeah, just up
to that hairline. I know you're avoiding those bits, but bring it around under the ear there. And then there's a little bit there that just needs blending in a bit more.
So it's hard seeing it with this light, isn't it?
It is. This light and this computer, it's really difficult to see Oops. I can see things that you ladies wouldn't be able to. Anyway, I'll stop playing now. Sorry, guys.
So I think that'll do for now anyway. And then, I mean, a lot of the time I tend to put powder on first, but sometimes I will just put on a little bit of sort of powder. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Contour-y stuff. I've actually got most of this rubbed off, but I use this Master Contour set from Maybelline. And I just tend to use... It came with this brush, which is brilliant. It's really good for just making some cheekbones if you've got a fat face, like me.
Excuse me while I vomit.
And then I just tend to drag it from the corner. It might be a little bit too much, but we can always blend that out after. But just tend to drag it down, just under there.
So again, ladies with older ladies with slightly more fragile skin, try to go upwards rather than downwards, and make sure the brush is very soft. I wouldn't be able to do that now. My skin's too thin.
And then I just use one of these afterwards just to kind of make it a little bit less sharp.
Blend, blend, blend.
Just smooth it off.
That's a good gadget. Me likes that.
They're actually really good. I actually got... It's not one of the real ones, because the real ones are about £60 each. But yeah, this one, I think it was like £20 for like 5 of them or something.
Wow.
I tend to just kind of put a little bit of contour at the bottom just to make my jaw look a bit sort of cleaner. So...
More
like
defined.
if you've got jowls like down here, it kind of makes you look like you haven't got as much of a double chin then. And I just tend to blend it out as well. I'll probably do things now that I don't usually do on a day-to-day basis, just because we're doing a video. And then I tend to get a little bit just over the top of the forehead, just to kind of make you look a little bit sort of
more shapy.
Yeah.
More contoured.
And if you've got a big forehead as well, you just want to get a little bit at the top as well. Obviously you do the other side as well, but I've got to avoid that side. That side.
I did say it was weird doing
It's
it in the
hard,
computer.
isn't it?
It's very
like,
peculiar, isn't it?
Everything's the wrong way. I wonder if it flips it at the end so you're the right way.
Well, it won't matter for anybody else, will it? It's only us that's it's freaky.
I do tend to put just a little bit of contour under, like just at the bottom of my nose here, just to shorten it. It does help, but it's not for everybody. Just tend to just put it there just to make it look a little bit sort of more shortened off. And then just a really, really small amount. I might even just use what's on there already, just either side, to make your nose look a little bit thinner. And obviously it's not going to look great, but... Oh, is that Poppy?
Yes. Hello, young lady. Do you want to be made up?
And then I just put a bit of a shadow under my lip as well, because it makes it appear like I've got a much thicker lip than I actually do. Just puts a bit of shadow, and then as well, I mean, I'm not going to bother doing it, but sometimes you can put a little bit just here, and it just makes it look a lot fuller then as well. Sometimes you put it just slightly. Yes. Big lips. And then I tend to powder, but you know, it's up to you whether you want to add the contour first or whether you want to add the powder first and then contour on top of it. It doesn't really matter to me, but some people might find with their just with the way that their skin takes it, you might want to put the powder on first. Now,
interestingly, when I used silk pressed powder, Jess is using a matte pressed powder, so she obviously feels that having oily skin makes it shinier and she likes a more matte look.
Definitely. I can't use anything that's kind of like, what's the word that they use, you know, when they like a glow. or something like that. I can't use anything that gives off the glowy effect because it will look like I've just got a completely shiny face.
Just had a bath in the chip pan.
That's what it looks like. I've had a look at some tutorials that help people with really oily skin, and you can get patches and stuff like that you can put on that don't take your makeup off, but they soak through and take the oil away and things like that. But I think that is on like a NYX website or something like that. Anyway, I'm sure you can pick them up at Boots.
There are lots and lots of tutorials out there if you want to start looking at makeup. If you get bitten by the bug and want to go for it, there's lots of different tutorials out there. But
what time are we on with this?
Again,
15 minutes already.
Yeah, it's long, isn't it? It's a long old process.
So, with it being a 15-minute, has it been
extended
now? We'll find out.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Going on to the eyebrows now. I tend to just give them a quick brush first. Obviously, we want to keep them nice and plucked, which is horrible.
About that.
That's already been discussed. That's fine. So I just tend to just brush them in the natural way that they grow. And then I use something like this. So it's a very sort of thin brush. I'm actually going to spread that. And then I put it in a little bit of water just because I find that it helps me apply it a lot better. I'm using at the moment, is it Mylene Class? Some eyebrow kit anyway, so it's basically powder, and I'm adding water to it to just make it a little bit easier to apply. And then I just go with the darkest first into just the corners. This could be a little bit dark for some people depending on your hair colour and everything like that. You just want to gently go across with it. I tend to have quite a sharp look at the end. So you just want to kind of taper it to a really nice sharp point. And then you can afterwards, I tend to just drag it down to, just before the edge.
Yeah, rule of thumb for your eyebrows is to go from the outer corner of your nose, get a thin stick or a ruler, go from the outer corner of your nose. Let me just demonstrate on. Here we go, just look straight into the thing for me. So outer corner of the nose to the inner corner of the eye and straight up, and that's where your eyebrow should start, which is where Jess's actually does start. And then corner of the nose, outer corner of the eye, and guess where Jess's eyebrow stops? Perfect. Rule of thumb.
It's completely
Fluke.
a fluke. I don't actually do. I have heard of that before now, the way that because I've had my eyebrows tattooed before, and that's the way that she actually marked it up. Not a very nice experience. Not very worth it either because it's not very permanent. But yeah, I tend to just do one eyebrow at a time, but I'll do the
unless you're ambidextrous. This is good. You can really see this happening as it's happening.
I mean, this one I always mess up with anyway because, eyebrows are a nightmare to get exactly the same.
Well, eyebrows should be sisters, not twins.
It's true.
Nobody's eyebrows are identical. It doesn't happen. You'd look very weird, so be diverse.
Let's have one really thick one and one really thin one.
No, not that diverse. Not that diverse.
It's like, on Friends where... is it Joey's eyebrow gets plucked?
Oh God, that's
and it's
funny.
like a baby caterpillar.
Yeah.
And then oh dear. Right, so that's probably about where I'll take it with the really dark stuff. And then I'm just going to use a really small... what have I done with it now? One of these brushes. So it's pretty much the same, only...
God,
it's just a big...
amazing.
I know, but they're just really disgustingly
minging.
I never clean them, it's really bad. And then I just use the lightest powder and then just brush it across from here. And then I need to do that a little bit. It's hard to see from here. Sorry, I'm just going to come off for a minute.
It just disappear.
You can't see what I'm doing.
Oh, that's me appearing, sorry. I disappear again.
Same on this side. eyebrows are actually terrible today. But yeah, I mean, I might need to add a little bit lower. You will probably need to adjust, just because eyebrows are a nightmare to do every day anyway. Sometimes you can like clean it up, you know, with a little bit of concealer, depending on if you put your powder on already. If you've already put your powder on, use a very small amount and then just make sure you blended it so you can't see that you've put concealer on top of powder.
Well, that's where I used that wonderful Wonder pencil.
The Wonder pencil.
The Wonder pencil. It was amazing. If you make a cock up on your brows and you don't want to take it all off and start again. But as I said before, everybody's different. Everybody will find what works best for them. This is just showing you what we do.
So now we're going to go on to the eyeshadow. This is the thing that I like the most because it's the easiest thing to do. I usually tend to put a little bit of extra powder just on the bottom. And not a lot of people, well, I don't know who does it. I just tend to just add a little bit of extra powder so that if any falls onto my cheek, then I can easily just brush it off because I've got so much extra on it. That tends to help rather than just ruining all your makeup and thinking, oh God, I've got to
start again.
Yeah. So I'm going to use my Shade and Light palette that I got from, it's actually really disgustingly filthy.
I'm just not
That I got from my mum for Christmas. So it's actually really nice. There's a load of different sort of colours in there.
Colours there.
I'm probably going to use this one just because it's going to show up better. It's not going to be a ridiculously natural look, but it's good for contouring your eyes. Rather than just putting ridiculous colours on there, it's quite natural-ish. So I'll probably go with the lightest first, and we're going to go with quite, you know, a fluffy brush. With older ladies, you will find it a little bit more difficult, obviously, with you having a lot more wrinkles. It's going to be harder for you to blend.
Speak for your bleeding self. No, we've already discussed wrinkles, haven't we, ladies?
So I'm just going to go with this one for my base. And then you just want to get it over the top.
So you're going into the socket.
So you just blend in.
Into the
across.
socket.
So I tend to just go from this corner.
The outer corner inwards.
Yeah.
In a nice little arch.
You can add more if you like. Sometimes you can just do like nice little circles.
Yeah,
that tends to give a nice soft effect.
It's that word blending again, ladies. Blend. Harsh lines not good.
For 40 minutes straight until you're bleeding.
No, don't. Ignore her. Don't blend for that long. There should be no bleeding.
You could blend forever. So at a certain point, you probably have to just think, oh God, I've
blended enough.
I've actually got milia across my eye, which is these tiny little milk spots, which makes it really difficult for me to blend properly. So this eye won't look as good as the other eye, but, you know, from far away, you can't really tell. So I just tend to just go from here. It is also an absolute nightmare to do winged eyeliner when you've got milia. If anybody else has it, you know what I mean. It's a nightmare. So just outer corner in again.
And that's contouring beauty. That's really, really emphasising her eye socket in that contour.
And then what I tend to do afterwards is use one that's slightly more flat. And you just want to go in. So I'm using this one now. So it's slightly darker.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, it is quite, you know, quite full looking. So it's not for everybody, but I'll just show you how I do it. So you've got like a much darker sort of contour across the outside, and then you just want to blend it probably to about the centre. That tends to be where I take it. You can go a little bit darker because we're going to put lighter in this corner anyway, so we can always blend it with that, but I tend to just bring it in. And this is where it starts to get messy, where it all drops on the bottom of your face. And you can drag it up slightly just to give it more of a winged look before you actually add your winged eyeliner.
Again, it's just practice and playing. It depends on the shape of your eye and the shape of your face. But the more you do it, the more you'll discover what shape and sort of process of putting on that you like. Method, that's what I'm looking for. What method you like of putting it on. But it is just, I mean, how many times have you done this to get to where you want to be?
Thousands. I put my makeup on pretty much every day, which is really bad for my skin, but yeah. So I've had years of practice with this. So I'm going to go with the darkest one now, and I'm just going to put it in the very corner, and I'm just going to go over the crease of the eyeball just to give it that extra bit of contour. You don't need to do it, but it just makes it look
really
a lot.
Defines it. Oh,
it's just really like going over it to make sure that you've got a really like bold look. That's actually a little bit too much. I'm just going to blend that out with my finger. You make mistakes all the time, so you know
everybody does.
I wouldn't just freak out and rub it all off. It's just, you know, you can always blend a mistake out.
Nobody else knows what the look that you were aiming for, so
shotgun powder look.
It's as long as you're happy with it at the end, and as I said repeatedly, take me as you find me, or go home, really.
And then so I just bring that in.
As long as I'm happy with the effect at the end, or you know, you personally are happy with the look at the end.
You'll be able to see that either side. It's not perfect, but you know, it gives
you an idea.
Yeah, it gives an idea. And then I'm just going to go in. Finally, I mean, actually, what I'll do, you can use a little bit of powder for the lower crease as well to make your eye look a little bit sort of, I don't know, more bold. It depends on what sort of look you want to do.
Smoky look.
So we can just do a very small amount. So this is using the darkest one again. You can use a lot lighter if you want to, but I'll just
Jess is using her eyeshadow here with a brush. I used an eyeliner, very, very soft eyeliner, but this is eyeshadow. So
we're just putting it, we're not actually putting it on that piece of skin. You know, the pinky bit, we're not putting it on that. It's just a little bit under it.
Underneath your eyelashes.
So just nice and blend it. You can add eyeliner after if you want to. I tend to just use a brush, lift it down and then add it on there. I'm just trying to find my lightest.
Oh no, Kat, get off the washing. You can't see all the clean washing on the table behind the
and then I'm going to use the lightest one here. If you don't have this sort of thing, you can always go for like whites or something like that. And then you just want to add it just into this little corner here. Just so you know, it makes your eye look a lot rounder and open. Definitely draws attention to it. Because you can tell the difference instantly between this one and this one.
Yes.
So I just tend to add that, and then if you want to as well, you can even use the same light stuff to go across the top of your eyebrow. You can even use white if you want to, just to kind of contour it and actually make it look like your brow bone is more protruding. You can use a highlighter as well, like what they're called. They are highlighters, aren't they? Yeah. I don't tend to use them just because it makes my skin look a lot more oily.
Lighter colours highlight, darker colours contour.
And then you just want to clean anything up that's under. And then what I tend to do after, this is the bit that I always mess up, I'm just going to clean my brush on my pyjamas. Because I'm disgusting.
So hygienic. I'm sorry, ladies, for introducing you to my
I am disgusting.
My name's Jess. I am disgusting.
It's true. And then I'm just using the same brush that I used before for my eyebrows, which is the really fine one here. So it's like an angled brush, always helps. And then I just use a little bit of water. I don't know how many other people do it. You can use like liquid eyeliner and stuff like that. But I always tend to use a brush rather than the stuff that they give you, because they give you these little tiny pencil thin things and it just doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So going for a more triangular or angled shape always helps. And then you just want to go in from the top corner and just gently brush down. Now, I always mess this up. And then if you want to, you can always just bring that out from there.
Wow.
And that gives you a much more
Wow.
sort of defined look. I mean, it's not perfect. You might need to go back into it a couple of times just to make sure that it's nice and sharp, and you can always add some eyeliner here as well. Sometimes you can drag it really far into the corners to
Yeah,
give you like
I
the
did
cat
that.
eyes.
Yeah.
That helps a lot, but yeah, that's what you tend to do. I'll do it the other side, but it will be harder for me because I've got the million on that side. So, I always get out of breath. I'm like, hold my breath as I'm going to do the eyeliner.
Yes, everybody holds their breath when they do that, or pulls funny faces, or both.
And then, so you just want to do the same again?
But please notice that Jess is not pulling the skin on her eye. And yes, her skin is very young and elastic, but she's not hoiking it to outwards to get a clean line. She's just doing it.
Is a lot more difficult because of my eye thing, so I might have to go over that a couple of times. But you just want to, I think the main thing is to make sure the edge is nice and sharp. And then if one is thicker than the other, then you can always go back and thicken the other one out slightly. Don't go too much though, because otherwise you'll end up looking like Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse.
Not the corpse version, the normal version. So I'm just going to thicken that one out slightly just because I went a little bit thicker with the other. It makes it harder, you know, I feel like more nervous doing it than just my everyday.
Yeah, when you think people are watching you.
Yeah.
I'm not watching you.
Yeah. She is. She's always watching.
I'm always
So
watching.
you can see, obviously, they're not exactly the
Just
same.
shut your eyes properly. That's lovely, isn't it? That's just, and open them wide. And look, not that wide. But that's just made such a difference, and it's so beautiful. And I never do that because my skin is so much older and my eyelids droop more.
Yeah.
But on a younger person, or on somebody whose eyes are just the right shape and, you know, the way they work, then that's fabulous. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And then I just tend to, what I was saying before with the eyeliner, I just tend to pull my brush down. Rather than using my fingers and then moving the foundation, just nice and gently with the brush. And then you just want to add just a little bit to the waterline.
So again, Jess has got really big, lovely defined shaped eyes. So putting a black eyeliner on inside the waterline will narrow her eyes down but give them a beautiful shape. And she can do that and carry that off really, really well. If I did that, I'd look like I had little piss holes in the snow, basically. But it wouldn't be a good look on me, that's suffice to say.
And then I think it's mascara time, and that's it. This is actually one that Nikki gave to me. It's very nice. She said it wasn't very good, but I very much like it. It's one of those ones with the double-sided. I tend to just kind of have my eye open and just close my eyelashes onto the brush. My mum taught me something as well, was to stop it from getting clumpy, you wiggle it and then brush it out. I don't know how effective that is because I always get clumpy eyelashes anyway, but...
Well, another thing you can do is once you've applied your mascara is clean an old, where are you? There we are. Oh, let's see if I can shove it up your nose. There we go. Clean an old mascara wand. And again, I've used one of these, one of the ones from the Benefit. They're real because it's got the bobble on the end and I love it. Once you've cleaned it, once you've put your mascara on, but it's still wet, go over with a dried brush, a clean dry brush, to remove any lumps or clumps.
Which is really helpful. See, this, I think it's actually quite a good mascara myself. I think it's quite good. And then the second one, I'm not actually sure what it does, but it just makes it very voluminous, if that's a word.
Voluminous.
Yeah, one of those.
Voluminous.
And I always just tend to have dark eyelashes anyway, just because I've got dark eye makeup. I wouldn't really use anything else. My mum used to use a blue eyeshadow at one point. Sorry, not blue, a blue mascara at one point, which was absolutely horrendous. It looked awful. You can do your bottom lashes as well, depending on what sort of look you want to go for. I wouldn't really put it on unless you've already got eyeliner on the bottom as well. Otherwise, it just looks a little bit odd. But there we go. And the added length.
What I didn't show you before, ladies, was this thing, which my mum introduced me to. And it's the Clarins Double Fix. And once you put your mascara on, if you then add this, it's a clear gel. Absolutely brilliant. Top it up with that, and that fixes it in place like nothing else. And I also use it on my eyebrows to fix my eyebrows in place. It's really good because my eyebrows are a bit wild. Jess's are really neat and in place. Look at
Only
that.
just.
Gosh.
I've managed to manage them before they were just.
But I use that on my eyebrows. That keeps my eyebrows in place all day. It's an amazing product. I thoroughly recommend that one.
And that is my look done. It's not.
You don't use any
perfect.
lips?
I don't tend to.
And you don't use any pinky blusher to give you pinky cheeks?
It's not really. I don't really tend to do that.
No.
Just because, I don't know, I think because of the colour of my skin, if I add pink to it, I instantly look like a child. Even though I look like a child anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, because I've got quite a round face, if I add blush, it makes
my
it
goodness.
more round.
She thinks she's got a round face. Look at the size of my face in comparison to the size of... Two beauties, what we like, eh?
And I think that is us done then.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
How do I turn it off?
I'll turn it off.
Is it this
Clunk.
one?